Hello everyone, this is Darko 2012, and I'll be reading an article titled Officials Admit Second Man Detained as More Witnesses Emerge. U.S. Customs and Border Protection officials have admitted that a second man, possibly carrying explosives, was detained after last week's aborted plane bombing attack, contradicting initial statements by the FBI that Umar Farouk Abdulmutallab was the only person arrested or charged in relation to Friday's foiled attack. As reported yesterday, attorney and Flight 253 eyewitness Kurt Haskell said that he saw a well-dressed Indian man aid the accused bomber to board the plane despite the fact that he had no passport and he was on a terror watch list. After the incident, while the passengers were being detained, Haskell witnessed an Indian man being handcuffed and led away after a bomb-sniffing dog had flagged up his luggage. The FBI then removed the other passengers from the area, strongly indicating that explosive materials had been found in the man's bag. It says that officials have now been forced to acknowledge that a second man was detained despite initial FBI denials after two more witnesses came forward to validate Haskell's account. Daniel Husingia of Fairview, Tennessee, who is returning from an internship in Kenya for the holidays, said he also saw a man being taken away in handcuffs at the airport after a dog search. A third person, Rowie Rosenblith, told the Huffington Post on Sunday that he saw a man in a suit being placed into handcuffs and escorted out as well, reports Michigan Live. Husinga talked about seeing a man taken away at the airport during an interview Monday on MSNBC. He mentions it about the 1-minute 25-second mark of the video below. The report appears to confuse Husinga's account with a man who was detained on a separate flight Sunday and deemed not to be a threat.
Daniel Husinga. Daniel was on board Delta Northwest Flight 253. Now that you've had a couple of days to absorb, Daniel, what happened, what really sticks out in your mind about the moment?
Well, at the moment it's happening, everything's crazy. People are screaming. There's fire on the plane. And at that moment, I was sure I was going to die. The thing that sticks out to me is just the eyes of the man who was taken into custody, so soulless, so calm about the evil that he almost succeeded in committing.
Let me show a graphic of where you were sitting on the plane in 17G compared to where Abdulmutallab was sitting in 19A. So close. At that point, could you see how far those flames had actually spread?
Well, the flames, as far as spreading, I saw them, looking up higher than your head, sitting down. They didn't spread to other seats. It seemed to be contained in that area, but they were pretty sizable. And
I understand that after the plane landed and they took him off the plane, detained him, that then everybody had to go through additional security procedures. Can you describe that?
Yeah, that's correct. After we were finally able to leave the plane, we were taken to a customs area, and they brought bomb dogs in, checked all the luggage with that. Another person was taken aside and handcuffed and brought out, and we were moved into another room for safety reasons, they told us, and we were detained for about 3 hours before we were finally able to go through customs and get on the way.
I should mention that the other person that they handcuffed was someone that they were concerned about whether there was someone else on board the plane cooperating with the primary suspect. After they had investigated this other passenger, they deemed that he was no threat and was released as well. Let me ask you about flying now. Do you feel safe?
Absolutely not. The security at the airports is, it's not non-existent, but it's close. You can stick things in your pocket and just walk right on board. I was wearing 2 pairs of pants to spare luggage space, and I could have had anything in there if I had been planning something nefarious.
And so what do you think would need to change for you to feel like getting on board another plane is safe?
As far as international flights, especially entering the U.S., really the only way I could see to make sure that those are safe is to have U.S. personnel at the airports conducting their own security checks to make sure that the security at those airports lives up to U.S. standards.
Daniel Husinga, I know it was a close call for you, and I'm sure your family was very happy to have you back, even if it wasn't actually on Christmas.
Yeah, that's right. Being reunited with your family after an experience when you think this is it just gives a whole new perspective to the magic of Christmas.
Well, I wish you a happy new year, and I hope that your next...
So there you go, folks. The magic of Christmas. The one thing they don't talk about is, how this man was assisted by someone else onto the plane, so it had nothing to do with security. He was escorted in onto the plane to get past all the security measures. So let's just read on here. Husseini later told Michigan Live that the Indian man who was later detained by the FBI after dogs had detected something suspicious in his baggage was wearing a nice suit, raising questions as to whether this was the same man who helped Abdulmutallab board the plane. Husseini was located about 20 feet from where the man was handcuffed. He shared Haskell's view that the passengers were moved because more explosives have been discovered, and adding that agents told the passengers that they could not use their cell phones or computers. We were kind of left to draw out our own conclusions, he said. It is unknown why the person detained or whether the person will face any charges, U.S. Customs and Border Protection spokesman Ron Smith told MLive.com. The FBI is still denying that a second person was detained in relation to the incident, raising suspicions as to whether the well-dressed Indian man is being protected by authorities and for what reason. There's a lot of stories out there, whether any of them are accurate or not, or they are a little bit accurate and blown out of proportion, FBI spokesman Bill Carter said. But I'm not aware of anyone charged or arrested other than Abdulmutallab. MLive.com writers attempted to contact the U.S. Department of Justice for clarification, but their calls have not been returned. And, just speaking of the magic of Christmas, this young man's going to get his Christmas present this year, because next time he goes to the airport, he gets to go through a body scan where it's going to take a picture of his naked body. You can see how good he feels about that, about being secure. I don't know, man. I know he means well and everything, and it's got to be a crappy situation, scary situation to be in, but, if I was on that plane and I came off, I'm telling you, I wouldn't want to be treated more like a slave just because of it. That's not going to make any of us feel safer. Well, it may make you feel safer, but it's not going to make you safer, so. But, yeah, that's about it.